the outro, so I know that.
All right. Got ourselves a good show shaping up here. I have no idea. I used to have tissues somewhere, but those are gone. There we go. I got Dutch Chattahoochee in the studio. Whoa, let's make sure you're not all covered up there by this. I gotta go. Let's put this.
I gotta do my usual thing here. I gotta share this.
I gotta snap this to the right to make it smaller. And now, like, if I scoot this way,
baseball,
and you scoot to the other end, then we can have our graphic up in OBS. Like right there. But I got just block our soundboard basically. But I got the physics of baseball and J.R. Richard holding 8 baseballs. I think he holds a Guinness World Record for that.
Oh, in his hand?
Yeah. It's crazy.
You want to try to break it?
Well, look at this. You could try all day. You won't do it. 8 baseballs, one hand.
Not happening.
That's not happening for anybody.
My hand's a decent-sized hand. But...
J.R. Richard.
How many is that? 8?
Still throwing heat. Dude, J.R. Richard threw essentially that hard in high school, and you had to face that.
I can barely hold 2, so I don't know.
So, but yeah, good show shaping up today. All kinds of stuff. Justin Halpern tweeted back that he wants to talk about San Diego high school legend, and I'm all for it because I got tons of Justin Halpern comment on that guy's comedic stylings. Absolutely hilarious. Because my segment, like if we're road mapping, you got your segments. My segment was like rabbit trailing on San Diego baseball because I think I saw on Twitter it was like Ted Williams. It was like Ted Williams' birthday the other day, and I love Ted Williams and everything about that. So I was going to do that. Let me just run down the list of things, and then you can give your roadmap. Okay, I'm going to talk some Ted Williams. I already had Justin Halpern. I didn't think the dude would get back to us, but I better check Twitter because if he does DM me, that would be awesome if he called in. But Justin Halpern was a baseball player. His dad was like a baseball guy and some of the funniest shit you'll ever read. And he walked on at San Diego State, and then he blew out his arm. But in my mind, Justin Halpern threw cheddar before he blew out his arm. Tony Gwynn's stuff. I also found out Spike Lee's on Twitter, my favorite director.
Favorite director? I did not know that.
There's so many. It's hard to pick, but I'm a big fan. And then there's some really good like San Diego Historical Society stuff I was looking at when I was researching on like just the history of baseball in San Diego, like back to like the 1870s and 1880s, which was kind of interesting. Because there was a deaf mute who pitched like a 15-inning shutout. But, you know, it's like the 1800s, so they weren't really PC, and his nickname was Dummy.
Oh, wow. That's terrible.
But 15-inning shutout, it was clutch.
I bet afterwards they weren't calling him Dummy.
Yeah, no. I'll try to find that page. I think it was like right maybe here. Here we go. San Diego baseball. The guy's name was
So we're talking about we're not talking about the college. We're just talking about the city in general, right?
Yeah. It goes all the way back. If I can find, I can't find it now. It was like in quotations, but yeah, Luther Dummy Taylor, a deaf mute. I mean, not PC, but it's still in San Diego history. But anyway, that was San Diego stuff I was going to talk about. San Diego State players. I was going to talk about horrible San Diego Padres trades because there's a couple really interesting ones with like players that I forgot were in that transaction. Talk a little bit of Seguin River Monsters, and I've been DMing with Jose Gutierrez. If I can get that image up, I can hide the window capture. Well, actually, it's even better shot if you go to the River Monsters page. Look at that shot. Look at that dude. That dude just ripped.
Speaking of San Diego,
just ripped. But go ahead, bud.
You know Ted Williams is from San Diego?
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, that's why that was.
Yeah, because it was his birthday.
Oh, okay.
Like yesterday or something on Twitter, and I love him. But I was like, that's kind of like he had some interesting. I don't know enough about Ted Williams' youth, and I've read a lot of stuff on him, and I don't know if I've just read Red Sox stuff or an actual bio. But he wasn't like my understanding was not the most congenial upbringing. I think a little bit of a rough childhood, I think. I don't want to put that out there, but I think I read that in some stuff. but he was a phenom. Like, he was already awesome. Like, he was no doubt this dude. He was playing for the Pacific Coast League San Diego Padres when they were minors. When he was in high school, he was like their star. So you knew that dude was destined for greatness. But yeah, if we get Jose Gutierrez on the phone, he's got some stuff this morning. I think some like classes and some other things that he's doing.
Oh, that's right, school time.
But I think his last thing is at 11. So maybe if we go to like noon, or maybe we can call him later or try him next week or something.
Yeah.
And like get him in. I'm not sure what his schedule is, but you always like to get the athletes on here, and especially Jose, who had such a good season and is just one of those guys that I look forward to watching his career, because I think he has the chance to go along. Oh, sorry, but
I like that photo we have up of him.
I see, courtesy of Mike Gigliotti and the Seguin River Monsters stuff. And then what else can we talk about? And I can talk a little bit about YouTube stuff I've learned in the last just few days that could maybe change our game and help us. I don't know. And then I don't know. That's pretty much what I got. What do you got, bud?
Well, I got 3 things.
Okay.
Pretty much. I got 3 like players with cool, like, well, I would say wacky pregame meals.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of cool.
Wacky. I like that.
I mean, I have 3 that like everybody knows, but it's still cool to talk about, I guess. And then
Yeah.
I also want to talk about why baseball still fucking matters.
It will always matter, even though Major League Baseball is trying to poop on it every chance it gets.
That's the thing, though. Like, even though MLB is like, it's not the only spot in town anymore. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can go overseas. You can go anywhere.
Go to Japan.
Go to Mexico if you want.
Please go to Mexico and Japan. That's where I prefer any awesome high school, college players in America go. I want to see Major League Baseball go out of business, and then we buy all the good old stadiums, and then start it all over without Manfred.
If I had the money,
MLB exec offices.
I would try to get a team in Mexico.
Well, we need a Mexican expansion team
That's what I'm saying,
in San Antonio is what I'm saying.
But, and then I guess for the last thing, we can just talk about like the things we've learned doing this podcast, and especially with all the experiences we've gained, you know?
So much stuff.
Especially all the cool people we meet, like Danny, especially with all the...
Danny, okay.
Hilarious.
Hilarious
He's
stuff.
taught me, and I'm sure the same for you, a lot of cool stuff about the camera stuff, you know? Just like editing and everything else.
Let's see here. Mike G. I'm having lunch with Mike G tomorrow, and that's another... I might have mentioned that. I don't know if I did. But I'm excited. Gonna go out. You gotta keep touching the off season.
Yeah.
With I don't know if Scotty's out. I think Scotty's like camping and traveling.
What time is that? What time are you going tomorrow?
I think I'm heading out there. If you can make it, is like I'm gonna go early because I'm gonna swing by GBRA and visit some like old work friends, and then we're gonna try to. I've never been to that burnt bean barbecue, so we're gonna and wait in line.
Oh, you're going to Seguin.
Yeah, going to Seguin.
Oh yeah, I have classes tomorrow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but
yeah, catch up with Mike G, see how everything's. Bring him a bunch of baseballs and talk world record stuff.
That's right, because he didn't get a chance to go to Colorado.
I know, he's a family man. He's taking care of business on the home front.
That's how the New Yorkers are.
I'll tell you, those guys are legends in my book. Right up there with Dutch Chattahoochee.
I don't think they sleep.
I don't know how he did what he did, but I think like the first year's obviously the hardest, but I think it'll be hard every summer that you do it. But man is getting it done. I think he's tuning in somewhere. He might be our second viewer, but I don't know. I try to like look at the numbers and get our stuff going, but fade out here and roll into segment 1. You want to go first, bud? You want me to play with more bum music? What are you thinking? I'm kind of interested in this meals.
We can do that. We'll start with that. A little something funny, and then we'll just go back and forth. I'll do one, you do one. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I like the format.
You're more the serious topics.
Welcome to our one viewer, which is us. But people might tune in later.
I always leave YouTube open, so we have one viewer at least every time.
Okay, yeah. Actually, I'll say one thing, and then I'll let you get into the best meals. This is a YouTube technicality I'm learning for those tuning in. One thing we're doing wrong, or I'm doing wrong, is our title. Apparently, there's a way to put a proper like YouTube title, like because we would put like TWIRB or like This Week in Baseball or 3BGB number 17, like shit like that won't get like searched. So nobody will randomly type that in, and then we won't show up in a search unless you're like real specific.
And the hashtags help too.
So, well, that was another interesting thing it said. It said it didn't want you necessarily, like, you could get booted off. Like, I took off, we went like hashtag Kim Kardashian for fun.
Yeah.
I took that off because you can get booted if you, like, it's called, like, packing your YouTube with, like, a bunch of, like, fake hashtags just to get views.
People used to do it all the time. Like, in the earlier days of YouTube, they would just put, like, 20 hashtags. But I watched people talk about it, like, years ago. They were like, yeah, I just put whatever was popular at the time.
I think they don't want you to do that, and they don't.
Yeah.
They want you to use their little tag system at the bottom instead of actual hashtags in the description.
It's like false advertising. I guess.
Something like that. So I guess you can get in YouTube trouble. So I changed that, and then I'm probably going to go back and change some of our titles. Like today, you'll notice "Baseball is Nectar for Your Soul," I think is the title instead of TWIRB because nobody's going to search that.
Yeah.
But that might get like clicks. And the other thing, because I was like, whatever, I'm the random crypto shit that I'm doing, which is hilarious because the only point I'll say is there's a thing in crypto yesterday where the guy who does Ethereum had a picture of him and he's got like a half wood. He's got apparently a humongous schlong. He's like this really skinny, kind of like nerdy looking dude. And it went crazy on Twitter. But
Was it a picture or what?
I can pull it up on Twitter and
the shit you run into sometimes.
Like
I don't know how you
in
find
like
it.
2 seconds. Yeah. So let me. All you gotta do is put up Vitalik, and the picture will show Vitalik.
Does Twitter have like blocked content for stuff like that?
I don't know. Like this is people making fun of it. So this is the picture that
is that like his for real thing?
I guess, but like this is what like so this hit as far as I know, that hit look at that, dude. He's packing like a 44 Magnum like gun. I don't know if that's a gun or if that's actually that dude's thing, but it went nuts on Twitter.
Can't be real.
But that's neither here nor there. That in the learnings of trying to do our podcast and do all this stuff, I'm realizing that we need to have better titles, and then we also have to have like maybe a better thumbnail. There's there's like a formula that makes people want to click on it. They're all kind of I think they're stupid. It's usually like some guy's head going, "Oh, stock's going up," and then there's like some crazy.
It's misleading a lot of times too.
Yeah,
I've watched YouTube videos where the screenshot was of somebody. The title was this, and the screenshot was following the title, but they talked about neither in the video.
Yeah,
like what the fuck?
A perfect example. If you just like go to just YouTube Central, you can like scroll down and see like it's got all these big words and numbers and greatest home runs. Like you got to F with like this is classic kind of like these thumbnails. So like maybe we got to improve our title and thumbnail game in 3BGB. But anyway, I digress. Let's talk about the good stuff.
I could easily like go into Photoshop and make something cool.
Let's talk about the grub because I am getting hungry and I didn't bring donuts today. I didn't eat anything this morning, so
I for once actually ate this morning.
Are you still going to be down with me for the barbecue station after the show?
Yeah.
Or are we going to go to D-Bat and take some hacks today, bud?
It's all
we had 2 weeks to recuperate.
You know what's funny is my wife and I went to the barbecue station like last week.
Oh, you guys went out to it?
Yeah, I brought her out here. What day was it? A Saturday. We came over here to have the barbecue.
Oh man, Justin Halpern. People were like, "How do you get on the show?" It's this little cable right here. This is the special cell phone cable.
A lot of magic has happened through that.
Some amazing calls. Also, Jimmy Campbell, our combat correspondent. I was looking at San Diego State players in the pros, and there's a dude from San Diego State named Jim Campbell. So I don't know if that was Jimmy like in another life or
that's his brother.
He went back in time.
He doesn't know about.
Anyway, I digress. I'm 100 win big. Let's talk about these. Let's talk about some food, bud. Let's talk about these pregame meals.
I mean, everybody knows Babe Ruth, though, like the hot dogs and beer before every game.
Was it really?
Well, apparently. So I found this article on MLB.com.
Yes,
so
sir.
A very reputable source, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they said that before every game, Babe Ruth scarfed down 3 hot dogs.
3 before every game.
Uh-huh.
Is that because hot dogs were like crazy accessible at all the stadiums? So you would just like show up to the park and the clubhouse, and the concessions would be like, "Give me some hot dogs."
I would assume because hot dogs is like very
it would explain his shape.
hot
Right.
dogs and beer. And they also said that he was known to have a bourbon and ginger ale like every morning.
There you go.
So, but
Can't.
I feel like everybody knows his hot dogs and beer diet.
Well, I actually didn't know that. I mean, you always hear about it, and then he was out partying. But like, if that's your schedule, because like John Crook had a pretty hilarious like David Letterman. I can't remember who it was, but like, if you're a pro ball player, games at like 7, right? You're gonna be at the ballpark till like 3. Of course, you're gonna be out all night.
And he doesn't go to.
You could sleep until 11:30 if you want.
Yeah. Or go to the bar at noon, have a couple drinks before the game.
Yeah. Once you become a family man, it's over that. I don't know if you saw that video I shared a while back. It was like a day in the life of Jock Peterson with the Giants.
Oh, I missed that one.
I loved it. It was cool because I'm a Jock Peterson fan, but he's like wakes up and he's got the kids like running around the house. He's playing like it's just like you got to play with them. So I was like, well, you ain't gonna do the hangover and sleep till 11 with those kids. But for every other baseball player, I would recommend do the Babe Ruth, right? Sleep in. Bourbon for breakfast, but get to the ballpark. That's probably your first meal of the day.
I mean, when we went to D-pad, I was drinking Dr. Pepper during batting practice.
We weren't really
instead of
we didn't
water.
have like the best hydration plan for that. We also purchased way too much.
Well, I thought 30 rounds would be fast, but when it's 15 pitches per round and we're doing 15 apiece.
How many did we do? 60?
We did 30 rounds total, 15 apiece, but each round was 15 pitches.
So we did 30 rounds of 15 hacks,
Mhm.
and I'm old and out of shape.
So what is 15 times 15? I don't know. But
I don't know. Do some
so
calculator.
let me see. Yeah, I'll bust out my calculator here.
It's way too many.
All right, here we go. So let's see. 15 pitches.
It's like 300 hacks or something.
225.
225. I'm good at math.
So we basically batted for 2 games.
It's a lot of hacks, especially because there's just a lot of torque on the spinal cord and everything else. Did you get a good blood blister on your hand for taking?
I still have it, and I forgot to bring my batting. I was gonna bring some batting tape and tape up my hands.
Yeah, I suited up for today's show. Switched out the books. I think we're cooking with oil. So beer and hot dogs, classic. I recommend.
Now everybody knows the Wade Boggs one too. He ate fried chicken.
What? But was that before every game, or was that just that legendary flight or whatever?
Apparently, no. So there's 2 separate things. Like I guess fried chicken was his pregame meal.
Yeah.
And he also at one point Purdue sent him a bunch of chicken to make, right? So Purdue sponsored him. Purdue Farms or something, the chicken company.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, the story about the beers, apparently he drank 107 beers in one day.
Is that true? Like,
Well,
talk about the Sunny in Philadelphia episode, which is legendary.
Yeah, so there was a clip of Wade Boggs saying, yeah, I drank at least, well, he's like, I'm not sure if
it was like 57 or something. It was, I mean, it's still an outrageous number, but.
Well, he goes, well, I don't know if it was 107 exactly, but it was over 100. I'm like, I don't know, dude.
I don't know, man.
I mean, it's possible if you're drinking like Natty Light or something.
I could see, like, I don't know, my understanding from the It's Sunny in Philadelphia episode, which everybody should check out, because this is what I remember. It was like everybody's trying to get laid on the plane, except for Charlie, who's just trying to like match. Or no, everybody was trying to match. They were all trying to do weight. They're like marking their heads or something.
Yeah, well, Charlie had a shirt with like tally marks.
Yeah, they were tallying.
And he got to like 30, and he was like obviously drunk. And he saw like this ghost Wade Boggs. He's like, Wade Boggs? He's like, no, Charlie, you're just really drunk. You like 30 beers in.
Yeah, so that was it.
And then the ghost Wade Boggs is like, hey, Charlie, you want a beer?
They're like tallying, and then like a bunch of people, like except for Charlie, gives up, and then they're like just trying to get laid, and then somebody like the changeover plane in Kansas City is just like, fuck it, I'm just getting off.
Yeah,
it's a great episode.
30 beers already is enough, man.
And then isn't it like Charlie and the other dude's name, but they make it to like Buzz.
Well, see, I'm trying to think, because it's been a while since I've seen the episode. So there's Mac, and then there's like Dennis. Right?
Yeah, it was Mac. It was Mac. So Mac and Charlie like make it.
The karate guy is always doing this stuff with the karate.
Oh, dude, he's so fucking hilarious. Yeah. And then they And that's also, as I think it was San Diego. It fits in perfectly with my segment, right? They get to San
Yeah, because they do the
or
flight that he
L.A.
did.
or something.
Yeah, it was. I think it was from Boston or New York or
No, it
something.
had to be to L.A. though, right?
No, but I'm
Because
saying like
Boston was American League.
no. What I'm saying is they flew to L.A.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
like New
yeah.
York or
So
Boston.
then they found like a field in the very end of that.
Yeah,
That's such a great baseball episode.
yeah.
They go to the field and he just has like a few balls and he just like throws it and like drunk Charlie just fucking laces it and Mac's like, oh shit, dude, you roped that.
And there's a couple like there's a bunch of baseball references. Like the whole thing with Cole Hamels.
Yeah.
And then they talk about like how Philly has like a secret closet like away into the stadium.
Oh, dude, that's such gold. It's always funny in Philadelphia's legendary stuff.
It's like Chase Utley. I think it was they were obsessed with
Yeah.
macros. I just want to play catch with Chase Utley,
Man, Wade Boggs, fried chicken, and all that beer.
Tampa Bay legend.
That's a legendary one. What else about that show? I don't know, but that's a good one.
You know what's funny? One of the funniest parts is Cricket, his decline. Remember, originally, like when he first came into the show, he was like this guy that worked, was like a preacher, was at the church or whatever, and then like D, like messed around and said, "Oh, I want to be with you," and then like she thought about it, and she's like, "You know what?
That's
No."
a great episode. They're all
And
fucking
she's like,
hilarious.
he's like, D, I can't go back to the church. It's not something you just do. And he every season, every episode, he just declines more and more.
yeah,
And he's high on. There's this part, like one of the first parts where he like
Portman.
starts going crazy. He's high on cocaine and he has these trash cans, but he thinks there's drums, like steel drums. He's
Man,
like, "Can I bring these
I'm gonna
steel
have
drums
to-
with me?"
my head, like Trailer Park Boys and like Just Sunny. That's right up my alley.
Those are my two favorite kind of shows. That's why I want to like do a show kind of like that. I think it'd be fun.
I know. I think we need to work on that pilot for the San Antonio version of that. That'd be so gold.
Yeah,
Hey, we
well,
got Danny. Okay, so we have a legend in the business, right?
we have a character already right there.
Yeah.
We can make it. It'll happen. We'll make it happen.
Oh man, that's such good stuff. What else? What else we got? What's a third meal? You had 3 meals?
Yeah, the third one's not wild, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
that the fact that he hasn't gotten bubble guts, but Justin Verlander eats Taco Bell before every start.
Taco Bell.
Because
Taco
apparently, I forgot the exact story, but apparently he had one of the games where he did like a no hitter or some kind of badass game. He had Taco Bell the day before or the start before, so he just stayed with it.
I have some thoughts on Taco Bell that were running through my mind last night. I was driving down Austin Highway and drove by one, and I won't go to that one. And I do like Taco Bell, and I really loved Taco Bell when I was in high school because there was one like down in Factoria, and I would always go. We'd all go to that Taco Bell and just get like whatever you wanted, soft taco supremes, and then go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, dude.
But then you get older, and you're like, and then you kind of like it falls off of your maybe circle of main things that you're eating, but then you occasionally will like, oh, I want some fast food. I want a burger. I want to be bad today. And you're going to like go get it. And then ever since then, as like an adult deciding to go to Taco Bell, they'll fuck up the order or it's not like I remember it. You know, like the soft taco supreme just fucked up. And you're just like, man, it's and nothing against smoking weed, but I'm pretty sure that's who's working there. Like, 17-year-olds who are smoking tons of weed before the shift. And they're fucking up orders, at least the ones that I'm going to. And so I'm just like, it's got to be hard to find solid Taco Bell, taco making employees. So I'm with Verlander on it. I love Taco Bell. I just haven't had a good Taco Bell experience in fucking years.
I've got to the point in my life where anything I eat from there gives me the bubble guts. I don't care what it is.
The bubble guts, yeah.
It just gives me gas.
Oh man, I do love me some Mexican taco fare, but we're spoiled in San Antonio. I can go Taco Palenque.
There's literally taco places on every corner.
Crush it, yeah. You can go to there's all the Jalisco restaurants all over town. You can go get some carnitas down Southtown. It's just spoiled.
I'll say this about
rotten.
Taco Palenque. I like Taco Palenque, but the problem is I feel is that tacos are so greasy that if you eat them fast enough, they get soggy. Like they're crunchy tacos. You know what I mean?
You gotta have your own technique, but there's
They're
so many options.
They're
right?
good, but they're greasy as fuck.
Yeah.
But
what else? When I think of and maybe because of the J.R. Richard book, but when I always think of like pregame meals, it's not necessarily a pregame meal, but I remember Nolan Ryan. I think it's somewhere in here, like Nolan Ryan's Pitcher's Bible or something. He talks about like diet being important and how he would eat the exact same kind of like carb load like the night before. Like he would have spaghetti or something the night before, and then in the morning he would always have like waffles or pancakes on the day he started. And so, like, you know how you just take snippets of something? People are like, dark chocolate's good for you. You're like, oh, fuck yeah, I'll just eat that all the time.
That was Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper was known for waffles or pancakes, one of the two.
Something like that. But that's the only two meals I remember from the Nolan Ryan Pitcher's Bible. So I was like, I'll just fucking eat spaghetti and pancakes all the time.
Did you have one or no? Did you have any pregame rituals?
No.
You say whatever?
Not really. I tried to make foods lucky. Like you know how baseball players are superstitious?
Yeah.
I tried to be superstitious, but it would never work. Like dress the same way. I liked high socks, but like there was no routine that I felt affected how I hit. I probably, don't drink before games or the night before, but I tried to make chicken in a biscuit crackers lucky.
Those are
like
so good.
One season at Lubbock Christian, and I was like, these are lucky. I just said it, I was like, these are going to be lucky biscuits, and it didn't. It's just a cracker.
I love those
It's just a
things.
cracker. So I don't really have any sort of food. I did have one food thing in law school was Waffle House.
Ooh, yes. Well,
I always had to do Waffle House before finals because I was convinced like I was gonna fail everything. I didn't know shit. I hadn't been studying all semester. I was just fucked. So, but I was like, I did that before one final. I had a Waffle House, just like it spoil myself, calm my nerves. It's like, fuck it, just drop out, work at Jiffy Lube, it'll be fine, And I ate that Waffle House and I passed that test. I was like, oh, fucking gotta have. I don't really need an excuse to have Waffle House, but I would always go to the same Waffle House in Fort Worth. So there's that. That's my one food.
Fort Worth, what's up?
Superstition. Oh, dude, let's bump some segment into you talking about whatever you want while I go grab my coffee off the thing. I brewed it. I totally forgot.
I don't know what's on here, so I'm gonna pick a random number.
You just push it and then come up to 20 on the slider, and you're good. No, that's wrong. You gotta do this guy over here.
Yeah, let me see it.
Oh, nice pick, bud. All right, let me grab my coffee.
So I can talk about whatever I want. Let's talk about my terrible diet, which consists of soda and energy drinks, and that's pretty much it. And I wonder why I still have like acid reflux. Well, I should probably change my diet, but I'm not gonna. So I last night was eating some candy, and I washed it down with a soda. Yeah. Also, you know what my favorite food is? Pickled sausage. So I'm pounding 3 or 4 of those at a time. All the vinegar. But you know what? They're good, so I don't really care. I know I should probably have better health because like I'm almost 36 years old. I should probably take care of myself, but I don't really care. I can still walk. I can still breathe. I'm doing all right. I'm one of those people that's stubborn about my diet, but when I'm like 50, I'm like, yeah, I should probably eat better. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, here's my diet thing. Anybody listening, let me give you some diet advice.
Eat what the fuck you want.
All right. So I'm pretty skinny, dude. You might think I'm in shape. I was, college athlete, and then went to the Marine Corps and yada, yada. Independent league legend for the Lubbock Crickets. But
My favorite player.
I've always kind of been about this. Like I fluctuate. Like if I lift tons of weights and go to like GNC and like buy supplements and convince myself I'm going to get yoked and then eat tons of protein, the biggest I will ever get is like 185. And then if I'm like, well, I'm going to fast and just like eat crazy healthy and just like not work out, the lowest I get is like 165. So it's like there's a 20-pound bracket I've been in my entire life since like the age of 17. And the regular fighting weight for me is 175. It's just fucking automatic.
What was that stuff you were drinking the other day that's supposed to put muscle mass on you?
This is creatine.
Creatine,
That's,
yeah.
creatine is tried and true if you're trying to like get back in shape and lift some weights. But here's the diet story. So this is neither here nor there. There's nothing to do with baseball. This is like a health problems I had. So one thing I would do, and I don't ever recommend anybody ever do this, was like I would go get those fucking rolls of cookie dough,
Oh yeah.
chocolate chip cookie dough, and I just eat the fucking dough.
That's
I'd try to bake some of them, but most shit wouldn't get baked. I just eat the fucking dough, and then I would like have cheeseburgers. I would do all this stuff, but I was running. I was like training for half marathons. I was running. I was going to the gym, but I had a trash diet. I ate tons of grains. I would eat fucking raw cookie dough, burgers. What the fuck else would I eat? I don't know. Like, and I was drinking at that time. I kind of went down, but I was like, but very high grain diet, and so I finally got to this point where I was having all these like fucking horrible skin problems. Like I was always itchy, like in my folds of my arm. I would kind of get like rashy, and I was like,
Oh
and
wow.
my face was getting like really flush, you know, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So then I go see the doctor. I'm doing all this blood work. I was like, something's wrong, dude. Like my face is like all of a sudden becoming red and flush. My neck, like there's something wrong with my thyroid gland. Like what's going on? And just months and months of tests. And so then you're like YouTubing, like, what's wrong with my skin? Why am I so itchy? Like, what's with my face? And I went down this rabbit hole of your health is very related to your intestines, your intestinal health. And I don't know how many books I read on that, but I was monkeying with my diet. And then probably the one book I read that stood out the most was The Plant Paradox. A pretty interesting book if you're dealing with diet stuff, but no real secret, like for people that are trying to get in shape, do try to cut out bread. But the thing it's saying is like your immune system, like if you think about what we were eating like as cavemen or whatever, right? Probably hunting animals and eating stuff you could pick out of a tree. The idea of like taking wheat, grinding it down, and baking it up into flour, yeah, that happened like 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. But there's like hundreds of thousands of years of human existence where nobody thought to do that. And so like the grain that we use now isn't the same as they had back in the old days. And it's kind of like poison in your body, actually. It's like not good, and it's so fine it like punches holes in your intestine. And if you got a bunch of holes in your intestine, everything you're eating is like going straight into the bloodstream, causes an immune response, causes tons of inflammation. This is the theory. I'm not saying this is right, but so this is what I'm reading, and I'm monkeying with my diet and I'm fasting. Two things happen there. Fasting, maybe like after like a few days of it, it just made me crazy smart. Like dopamine going in my brain. I could fucking this mail pile, like all the shit. I could do a month's worth of work in like about a day.
From not eating?
Yeah,
Oh
because
wow.
like it changed, like the receptors in your brain were, because like they say your first brain is your gut. There's so many neurons. There's this huge like vagus nerve.
I
Uh,
wonder if that's where the phrase "trust your gut" came from.
I guess so,
Maybe, possibly.
because I think the history of evolution was it was like everything didn't even have a brain first; it just had a gut. It just knew how to eat and survive. But anyway,
Makes sense.
I digress. The point is, I was like, God, dude, if I was this smart, I'd have been like top of my class in law school. I didn't even know I had a brain this good. But it's because all I did was drink water for like 4 days. Like the first day and a half is brutal. You're just like,
Of
what
course.
am I doing? This is the dumbest idea ever. After like day two, you stop getting hungry. Day three, all of a sudden it kicked in. I was like, what the I was like OCD. I was like organizing everything. This must be straight. I fucking organized my whole house. I folded all my clothes. I fucking vacuumed. I just started sending all these emails. I just did. It was fucking insane. And ever since that one fasting experience, I was always kind of like chasing the dragon rather, of that like brain power. Because once you start eating, then it like, so I was like, I started associating mental health with a lot of the food I was eating, and mental function with like the kind of diet I was keeping. And it's really fucking hard because there's bread and sugar and everything.
Yeah,
Um,
especially sugar.
this is like 3 4 years ago. So I changed how I ate, and that made me feel a ton better. And I really got away from like grains and sugar. And I think I kind of like more healthy fats like avocado and meats and stuff like that to try to like heal my intestines. And it made a world of difference. My skin got way better. I don't have the itchy. It's like if I eat right, I have way better cognitive abilities. So there's something to what you eat. Now, caveat: I couldn't fucking hit 700 homers,
No.
uh, or bat 300 in the American League every year like Wade Boggs. So don't listen to me. Those dudes are drinking beer and eating
What
fried chicken.
what's that funny phrase? He went like, yeah, he was drunk and drinking a lot of beer and eating fried chicken. He went 3 for 5 every game or something like that.
So yeah, I mean, don't listen to my diet thing, but that's my personal journey. If anybody ever watches this, be like, I'm a monkey with my diet. Check that Plant Paradox book is really good, and man, I don't even think I'm a celiac, but I was like, dude, I'd do so much better if I would just avoid the
I
grains and sugars, and honestly, dairy. I used to be like a milkshake. I love chocolate milk and milk. I completely cut that out too. So
I try to eat healthy. Like I'll eat a fruit, like an apple or a banana or something. Like this is really good, but I really want some fried chicken or something that's terrible.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I'm really bad about like saying no to tasty foods.
It's hard. It's hard because I like
Well,
kids.
for me, it's too. A lot of it's like say I get out of class, and I have food at the house, but I really want fried chicken, and it's like right there on the way,
Man,
or like McDonald's or
I do
something.
love some good fried chicken. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
probably one of my favorite. It's not my favorite food, but it's up there.
that's a good segment, bud.
It's up there.
Should I go on one? Go down a path on one of my random. Of course, I kind of did on my food thing, but you can go again.
We got 4 people watching. That doesn't include us, so that's technically
What?
3.
Could be Mike G out there. Shout out to Mike Gigliotti, the
Who's
legend.
ever listening? Hello. I'll say that. Hello.
Excited. I get to go to the Burnt Bean with Mike G tomorrow. All right, so here's the one I'm gonna do because I like my whole segment I'm gonna get into, but I'll snip it up in pieces. As I wanted to talk about San Diego baseball because it was Ted Williams' birthday the other day. American hero, guy lost better part of like 5 years to military service. Was a combat fighter pilot. I don't know how that works. When you're like, Bob Feller and you're drafted in the Army for World War II, how you kind of get to pick. Because I think there's a little bit of controversy on Williams' service, and I mentioned that in an earlier podcast where he didn't like report right away when like DiMaggio and all the other guys were doing, and then there was this kind of like smack top happening in the media, like why hasn't Williams reported for service yet? All the other stars are doing it, and people were like, oh, if they only knew what a legendary veteran he would become. But early on, they were talking smack, and I think he might have got like drafted or did some other kind of like waiver because it was like the Navy, and he's like, no, I'm not doing that. And then he later like went in and volunteered, and that's how he got the Marine Corps. But I was like, the pilot program, and I don't know if that's how it was then, but it is kind of like this now. There's an intelligence requirement. It's like a way harder testing to just fly a plane. The other one is size. You can't be super tall. Like Williams was a pretty tall dude. Like they really like jet pilots you've seen, it was like 5'10", that sort of thing, because the ejection seat could pose a health problem if you're like too tall getting in the cockpit.
Plus, yeah, I was gonna say that's probably the next part is gonna make the plane itself isn't very big.
So how Williams became a fighter pilot, I think, was just force of will, because that's kind of who Ted Williams is. He's like, I want to be the best at everything. He's like, if I'm going to the service, you think I'm gonna be a logistician, like back here, being safe? It's like example, like how he hit 400. They're like, dude, you don't have to play the last game. It's a doubleheader. You don't have to play it. You got enough at bats. You're over 400. He's like, fuck that. That's lame. I'm not gonna go out like that. I'm gonna play all these games. If I hit 400, I do. If I don't, I don't. That's the kind of guy he was.
I do. I don't.
So if he was going to the service, I'm pretty sure they're like, what are you gonna do? He's like, you gonna do this? He's like, dude, I'm gonna be a flipping. I guarantee you, it was as big as I want to be a fighter pilot, man. I get some combat. I'm gonna fly a plane. It's kind of guy he was. But anyway, Marine fighter pilot, Semper Fi, Ted Williams.
He probably was the first guy that was like, it is what it is.
But I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, DiMaggio was a little bit that way, where it was like far from home. He was a San Francisco guy, played for the Yankees, and of course, all the baseball then was East Coast essentially. So like farthest west was maybe St. Louis. But as far as you could get diagonally from San Diego all the way up to the most northeast Major League Baseball team, become a legend. But Ted Williams, for those who don't know, Mexican-American mother, American father from San Diego, and, I mean, one of the greatest hitters of all time.
My favorite pick of San Diego hometown kids is Cole Hamels.
Cole Hamels, a San Diego guy?
Yeah.
I got my little list here of...
That's what I did, because I don't know a whole lot about San Diego as far as baseball talent goes, but it shows 5 on this article, and Cole Hamels was on there, so I was like, okay.
So I can go to this, and this will be my segue into Justin Halpern, who's a San Diego, him and his father. His father, so there's 2 books in my life that stand out to me. Well, I mean, there's a lot of baseball books. I was just looking at like Leo DeRoche, Nice Guys Finish Last, great autobiography. But 2 books like stand out for me for like how good of a book they were. The first one, and I don't know if it's my favorite book because I would maintain Halpern's book's my favorite, is Conspiracy of Fools. Conspiracy of Fools is like Kurt Eichenwald's account of the Enron collapse. It's like a 500-page book, and Eichenwald has like some sort of condition where he can, like, I think, have seizures, and so he doesn't forget stuff. He takes like insanely detailed notes, and he like interviews tons of people for years and years before he writes a book. So his books are really good, and that book is like 500 plus pages long. I literally could not put it down. I started reading it. I couldn't go to sleep. I kept reading it. I missed the next day of school, kept reading it, and then in 2 days, I read like a 500-page book. That's how
Wow.
engrossed in the Kurt Eichenwald Conspiracy of Fools. I've never done that with a book where I was like, F it, dude, I can't stop reading this.
Well, something like that has a lot of details, obviously, so you want to keep reading and find and listen. Oh, this happened. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. This happened.
The other one was the. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's the It book. That's what it sounds like.
I don't know.
I mean, as far as how many pages, because it is huge.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Stephen King's got good stuff, but I just read most books just regularly.
You
here
read a
and
lot
there
of
when
stuff
you
with
go to
conspiracy
bed.
theories, right?
I don't know.
I
But
don't
I
know.
skipped a day of law school so I could watch the cross examination of the CFO Andy Fastow. Like I was so
That's
into
wild.
the Enron collapse and white collar crime, it was nuts. But the other book was Shit My Dad Says by Justin Halpern. And that book, especially for somebody who has like a baseball dad and played baseball growing up, besides the fact it's the funniest fucking book I've ever read in my life, I was in Powell's Books. If you ever go to Portland, go to Powell's Books. It takes up like a whole city block. It's the biggest fucking bookstore I've ever seen. It's like 7 floors of just literature glory. It's so awesome. So I'm in Powell's Books, and I'm up there for a vacation. I can't remember if I'm like visiting family, what have you. And then they got that little rack. I think they had more than one. These racks are like all over. They're kind of like staff picks. They must have like huge staff. But this was a staff pick. Shit My Dad Says. And so I'm kind of just a shopper. Like I'm not really planning to like get into any books. So I grabbed Shit My Dad Says off of.
Based off the title alone, it sounds.
Well, I can't remember. It just like,
Okay.
you know how they have like the staff picks? There's like a little
Yeah.
placard card that they wrote that says this is a funny book or whatever. I don't know why I picked it, but I started reading it. And I don't know how long I was reading it before I was laughing so hard I was crying. I've never had that with a book. I was laughing so hard I was fucking tearing up. I was like, this is the funniest fucking thing I've ever read. So I bought it, and then of course, like, you can read it like in a day or whatever, and then I would always buy it. I don't know how many copies of that book I would buy, but I would buy it and give it to any of my buddies who had kids. So I probably bought Shit My Dad Says like 15 times. It's like my favorite gift to give for dads. But Justin Halpern, baseball dad, he played baseball, and then he walked on at San Diego State and then blew out his arm playing summer like pickup leagues. And he also he's wrote a bunch of stuff. Now he's like a Hollywood writer. He's writing movies and stuff like that. But his second like kind of like personal account with his dad is I Suck at Girls.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see that book. I'm looking at it right now.
Dude, he's so funny. But I gotta find the Shit My Dad Says. He had like a Twitter feed. If I can find if he's got the, I thought I had it up here, but is let me just go. Shit My Dad Says.
Oh wow! Apparently there was a show that came out called Surviving Jack that was based off one of his books.
Yeah, no, there was like, I think they tried to do this Shit My Dad Says series with Shatner. And it was actually pretty good. And I think it had John Cryer in it or something. It was pretty good, but it got canceled like some good shows do.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I found the Twitter that he doesn't really update the Twitter. I think he did the Shit My Dad Says Twitter. But it's hilarious. So that's like a picture of his dad. His dad's quotes are fucking priceless. Perfect example of, quote, First Amendment doesn't protect assholes from criticism. The right to act like an asshole and be called an asshole is the same fucking right. He's a comedic genius. I was reading something. He's the profane Lenny Bruce, and his dad was a doctor. His dad was like a genius. He was like a doctor of nuclear medicine in San Diego. But his quotes, uh, uh, he's the first the First Amendment doesn't say I have to listen to bullshit. Just because farting's legal, don't mean I gotta shove my nose in your asshole. I mean, anyway, I digress. But that's that. And Halpern like responded to the one random tweet. I don't know if he'll ever get back to us. I was like, dude, DM me. Dude, I'll have you call in.
I also see, so Samantha and I love that HBO Harley Quinn show,
Oh yeah,
and I noticed he has a picture of that. So I don't know if he's a writer or director.
yeah.
or
I think he's a
whatever,
writer. Like
because that show is fucking great. It's so funny.
dude, Halpern
Some of the
is one
shit
of
they
the
say.
funniest dudes ever, and one of the funniest dudes and funniest shit that I've ever read. I can't recommend his stuff enough, but also a baseball guy, and he has plenty of stuff in there about like the Padres, and then like his dad in like Little League and stuff like that. There's one chapter in I Suck at Girls where he was at like Little League. I can't do it justice. It's so funny. So he was like, they're playing catch. They're playing catch in Little League. I mean, just look at Halper and stuff, but they're playing catch and look at somebody like throws the ball over the fence, and he's like, okay, well, I'll get it. But nobody really wants to go get it because there's like a gully down there where like bums hang out. So they go get the ball. But while they're down there looking for the baseball in this like gully behind the Little League outfield fence, they found like a bum's nest where he'd been camping out, and there's all this porn in there. And
Shit.
I mean, you're a fucking Little League kid, dude. Like, if you found a Playboy, your like mind explodes. You're like, oh shit. So they like, I forget how it goes. So he like grab, they like him and his buddy like they grab it or something, and he lived close to like the neighborhood like Little League field, and this is before the game. So he like grabs the porn or whatever, and like runs home and like hides it, and then he does it like they like gets back to the game or something. They're like, where the fuck have you been, or whatever. So he like plays the game, but then in his mind, he's just like, what am I gonna do, like to hide this porn in the house or something? And then at some point, he's in the backyard, like burying it. He's like, it's just like my instinct as like a pirate. Like, what would a pirate do
Bury
with his
this
treasure?
shit.
Like bury the treasure. It's so funny, dude. You just like you buckle over laughing, reading his stuff, but like. So he's like out in the yard, like he's like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and he's like burying it. But his dad had crazy weird hours as a doctor. So his dad was like up at 3 a.m. or something. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then, like he goes and sees what he's like trying to bury. And his dad was just hilarious. He goes, first of all, you're never going to fuck a woman that looks like that.
Oh shit.
Second of all, where the fuck did you get that? So then he's like, I got it from the bum nest outside the Little League field or whatever. And his dad, being like the greatest dad ever, with some fucking values, says, yeah, well, you go take that porn and give it back to the bum nest. That might be the only thing that fucking guy has and has to look forward to, and you stole it. So you take his porno bags back. I was like, oh my God. It was so funny. So yeah, doesn't do justice to, but as a fan of Halpern and his dad, definitely check out all that stuff.
So there's this quote I want to read by his dad. It's pretty funny. He's like,
yeah,
it says, he knew how bad this would look. If a man shits his pants on purpose, he's trying to cover up something that smells a lot fucking worse.
oh yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, we got somebody in the chat, Diane King. Wait a second.
No, that's Jamie King. That's my friend.
That Jamie King.
That's my friend.
Oh, what's up, Jamie?
We call him Uvia himself.
Okay, well, Jamie,
Call him the Rain.
Thanks for coming.
Uvia, they call him the Rain.
Thanks for coming to check us out, Jamie. That's fucking awesome. We appreciate the support.
I think he's based in Houston or somewhere in Texas, but.
All right, well, it's your turn. That's my Halpern segment, is because he was a walk-on. He had some pretty good, interesting stuff about all the shit talk that would happen in the bullpen at San Diego State University. very hallowed. Strasburg went to San Diego State. All that good stuff. Tony Gwynn.
Jamie's like the Rain. I was like,
Craig
yeah, dude,
Nettles.
that's your nickname, the Rain.
Yep.
Anyway.
So what do we got next on the Chattahoochee segments before I start rambling? Because I got to give you airtime. You know me, I'll fucking go.
So let's talk. We should talk about why baseball still fucking matters.
Okay, it always matters. But we can smash people's faces into chain link fences. You know, like you ever watch Goodfellas?
Yes, it's been a while, but I've seen.
Like strangles him with the phone cord.
Is that the movie where the guy Ray? What's his name? Ray
Liotta.
He's like in the house.
Rest in peace.
He has these helicopters. He's all paranoid. That's Goodfellas, right? Is that the one? Okay, yeah.
I just feel like Jimmy Conway or smash people's face into smash people's face into a chain link fence. You know, like Jimmy Conway's like, you don't like fucking baseball? It's okay. Taste that fence. Taste that fence.
Like you want to taste that dirt. You want to be down there with the dirt.
Yeah.
Be down there with the earth.
Yeah.
You respect the game of baseball.
Got a DM from Jose Gutierrez. Let's put his picture up so everybody knows that he's in class right now. But why is baseball still relevant other than the violence I want to inflict on people?
Well, the violence is the number one reason, but there's other reasons we'll get to, I guess. For me, honestly, it's like it's an every person sport. Like anybody can pick up and play.
Absolutely.
You don't need to be like 6'5" built or like you don't have to be like fast. You can anybody can play it.
Babe Ruth, rotund, you know?
John Kruk,
the Cruckster.
Mo Vaughn. I mean, Mo Vaughn was
Lincecum. How big was Lincecum? 160 pounds.
He was so skinny.
Pedro's probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest dude to ever toe the rubber. Probably 165 pounds.
Yeah, anybody can play.
Rushing it up there, 97 with movement that he could control.
And that's like, to me, honestly, one of the only sports that anybody can pick up and play.
Yeah. Altuve.
Now, I'm not saying you can be a great hitter or a great pitcher, but you can still play.
There's no telling. Obviously, if you're a huge, awesome athlete, yeah, you got probably a leg up. But if you're like a little dude or you're a chubby dude or whatever shape or size or who you are, and there's a good book up here, The Art of Fielding. It just talks about that mystical magic of baseball that any human being on this earth can possess an amazing baseball skill that you can't believe it came out of that body.
Like you can't get a guy who's like 6 foot, 140, 50 pounds. Hey, go play some football. He's gonna die.
You know?
But with baseball, he's got a roster spot.
Yeah. I mean, Muggsy Bogues is kind of like you'll have some small dudes that make it to the NBA, but typically it's a tall person's sport.
Plus, it's very diverse. It allows for a lot of different countries and people to play.
But basketball is an awesome sport, and I do like basketball. I suck at it, but it's not a gear-intensive sport, right?
Yeah.
You just need the ball, the hoop. So, but baseball, man, any sport. What else you got in there? That's a excellent point. I always love talking about all the guys that don't fit the Greek Adonis physical type. Like that's why I just love Lincecum so much. You know?
This is like a funny point, but where else? Okay, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
You're gonna agree with it 100%. Where else can you go? Not only athletes, but like fans. Where else can you go to check out dudes with sweet stashes and people pounding beers?
I don't know.
You can't. You're not gonna go to an NBA game and see a dude with a sweet stash and some people pounding beers.
Why is it? Well, I guess you can pound beers during the game. They probably did that.
But it's just it allows for that kind of world.
Yeah, I think mustache game is dominant in baseball.
Yeah.
Like, when's the last time you saw a good mustache? I mean, Harden has the beard, but there's no like NBA stash game and rarely NFL stash game.
That's what I'm saying. With a stash, you're 20% better.
What sport am I forgetting? Hockey's got some sweet stuff going on though.
Well,
Hockey is like, it's like I don't know hockey, but hockey just gives me that Trailer Park Boys, Sunny in Philadelphia. Rough, raw. There's fighting. There's mullets.
There's people with like half their.
It's Canadian. Teeth. There's so much. I really like hockey.
Shout out to the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's my team. I like
Oilers.
Go Phil. I don't even know if Phil Kessel's still in the league, but that was one of my favorite players. And John Tavares. He's played for the Islanders.
My sister's up in Edmonton. She's probably like, "Why the fuck can't you call me? You got time to cut podcasts." I love you, sis. I'm not organized, but Yeah, Edmonton Oilers.
Now, the number one reason I feel like baseball still fucking matters is it teaches people to think.
It's a thinking man's game. There's
It's
so much going
it
on.
makes your brain grow more than any other sport because there's so much going on, like the shift, right? Guys on base, the count, everything. Okay, there's a guy on third and a guy on first. We got 2 outs. How are we gonna play this?
Yeah.
You know?
There's so much to
It's
calculate
a thinking.
every pitch.
It's a thinking
Yeah,
game.
it is, and it's a cat and mouse game. It's a chess match is going on every pitch, especially when it's heightened in the postseason.
You won't
it's just
get
drama.
you
You won't
won't
get
get
that kind
that.
of drama.
You won't get that in any other sport, as far as like major U.S. sports.
Pitch after pitch drama. So, yep, that's good stuff right there, Dutch.
So, but
That's well researched.
plus,
stuff.
it's the best people are in baseball too.
Yep.
Like, how you gonna tell me there's a better person than Babe Ruth? Get out of here. Not gonna happen.
That's some good stuff there. What? Let me go ahead.
Also, you're not gonna get people in any other sport possibly throwing 105 mile an hour either. Because like you've seen like people that are baseball dudes that play NFL, like Russell Wilson, he can sling the ball.
Yep.
Because he was a baseball player. Didn't he get drafted by the Rangers? I think at one point.
He was definitely He was definitely like a Kyler Murray kind of dude. Like he definitely got drafted with both.
I feel like Kyler Murray should have went to baseball, but whatever.
I'm not sure on that one. But I know he was an awesome. He might still, but he has a huge NFL contract. So
Yeah, the Cardinals.
yeah. But he'd probably been, all-star playing second base for somebody.
That's just the bias in me saying, "Oh, I should play baseball."
Yeah,
Longer career,
Yeah.
I don't know if you make more money in baseball as opposed to football, but
Well, you know what? I could see him doing it because whatever his contract is now, I think he's such an athlete. He could still be a major league second baseman at the age of 30.
absolutely.
So
I mean, there's people at any age that still play baseball, especially like what was his name?
yeah.
Ricky Henderson played forever. Julio Franco, right, the guy that was an old guy trying to play.
Julio Franco, amazing.
So I mean, that's the good thing about baseball is you can play.
Manager of the Arcereros.
Yes, sir. You can play at
We
any
saw him.
age.
Yeah, we saw him there at Nelson Wolf.
Because you can imagine being like 45, other than Tom Brady, but
Yeah.
if you were like 45, 50, hey, I think I'm going to go play some pro basketball or football. You're going to get destroyed, but in baseball, you might succeed.
Nice.
You won't get that with any other sport, I don't think, as far as like major U.S. sports. Soccer, I don't really fucking know, but
Soccer, I don't know if you're calling it a major U.S. sport.
It's not.
Yet, but MLS is cool. I do like soccer.
I've tried. I can't get into it.
I can't get into it because it's just I can only commit my time to so much stuff. I really honestly letting the NFL fall off because I'm just like,
Oh, I like football still.
I still like football, but I just like I'm so busy I'm not catching games. But,
Like, I bought the new Madden 23 games. Pretty badass, but that's not the point.
Oh man. So San Diego. I'm just gonna run down my tabs of San Diego and get through my San Diego segments, which I think are kind of hilarious. Let's see here. Let's go. Let's start. That's Twitter. There's Bryce Harper. There's Dutch Chattahoochee tweeting Bryce Harper.
Oh, yeah. When he was 18 years old, he had a 36 bat. Dude, it's crazy, right?
That's a huge bat, right?
Yeah. I like a 32. That's what I use. I use a 32.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. Oh, here we go. Got let's share this right there. Boom, that dude just crushed a ding dong in Japan. Look at that. There's like a Ferris wheel outside there. The Oryx Buffaloes home runs. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I saw you talk about that yesterday. You
I
posted
just
that.
love Japanese baseball because Major League Baseball makes me so angry. There's us. This is San Diego baseball history. Check this out. Terry Kennedy, Steve Garvey's. Oh, here's one thing I'll say about San Diego. So they've been in 2 World Series. I think it was like 84, maybe in 88.
Oh, the Padres?
Yeah. So they've won the pennant a couple times.
Tony Gwynn?
This little page you see here has to do with like some old school history, and that's where the Mr. Luther Taylor is. I'm not going to say his, but he was. What does it say? In 1901, hurled a crucial late season 15-inning shutout in 1901. That's awesome. But so one thing about San Diego, and tell me how you feel about it. But there's, if you go back, like retro unis are real hot. Like you think about like the kind of like cool old unis. but there's only a couple that are really stick out to me personally. Like I love the baby blues. Everybody, talks about the Royals baby blues, and the Brewers had their old version of the baby blues. But those, like, Yankees never change their unis. Red Sox are always kind of the
No.
same. Cubs have kind of been
Yeah.
the same. And I know they're doing all the cool stuff now with the pink for cancer and doing the military. San Diego will do the military. But if you think of like retro uniforms, I'm all for the baby blues. And there was some cool logos that they have changed. But the two that stand out to me that were really different, that really kind of have the stamp of like the 70s, 60s, 70s on them, was the Astros, who did the Tequila Sunrise,
Yeah.
and that even went into the 80s, but I think it came online in the 70s, was just so different and weird. Like, we're trying to be like fashion forward. And probably at the time, it was like, dude, this is stupid. It's baseball. It's not a fashion show. And now it's kind of legendary. And you can see Tom Terrific behind you with the Reds. Like, they just kind of had their standard white and gray, the unis that these teams had. But the other one besides the Stroh's weirdness was the pods. Because brown, isn't a color that you go out choosing, but that has to do with like a friar, right? They would have those brown robes. So if you're the San Diego Padres, and they were the Padres from like the 30s on, because they were Pacific Coast League minors, but you're yellow and brown, which is kind of a unique, you don't really see that a lot in even collegiate or high school sports.
They make it work.
And then they just did some weird stuff with like their hats. They had like that weird stripe. It wasn't like I don't know, like, and then like the Ozzie Smith, Dave Winfield years was like brown with those crazy Padre lettering, and then like yellow sleeves. Like, it was just those two uniforms. And I hate to say it for Padres fans, is because people are nostalgic for those kind of kick-ass logos. I think also because they're in the NL West, and you got to get past the Dodgers and the Giants and stuff like that. That people, because like people hate the Yankees. Why do you hate the Yankees? Well, they're always beating your fucking team, right?
Yeah.
And not that the Padres are a losing team, but I think there's like some aspect that they never had this kind of like dynasty, like the Bulls or something, to be hated. So I feel like everybody just kind of likes the Pods for the nostalgic of the uniform and the fact that they're not viewed as this kind of like annoying dynasty that was a threat to your favorite team. So that's how I feel about it. I like the Pods. They got some cool history, but
I'm glad they finally turned it around though, because for a while they were really terrible.
yeah. And now they're
Playoffs.
missions. Used to be, the missions used to be the Dodgers, but we've been the Pods forever, except for the one a couple years ago we were the Brewers. But
Yeah.
so we got the San Diego connection here in San Antonio. We're going to see all the prospects go through and wonder if they're going to be used as trade bait or not. Here's one interesting thing. If you read this article, which gives shout out to the San Diego History Centers, talk about baseball, it's got all this stuff, and it goes back and talks about like the oldest game, like 1870s and stuff. But there was an interesting, and you talked about this too, but it talked about the 1800s baseball. Like, they didn't have gloves.
No.
Like, you did not have
Oh,
gloves.
you have it with your hand.
It's just your hands. And the first dude that like showed up with a glove, you were a sissy, dude. You were just like sissified for trying to catch that with a glove.
But the thing about that is, when people saw that these dudes with gloves were actually able to catch the ball better, and more opportunities,
Yeah.
they were like, "Man, it's a good idea."
Well, yeah, because the one thing it said it was super common in baseball, because like the number one person whose hand is getting beat up, that like if you looked at old timey catchers' hands, they had like all these broken fingers and stuff. Their hands were just messed up. Back in like when it started, like 1800s, they're like, dude, you don't catch it on the fly. You let that thing bounce.
Yeah.
You always catch it on the first bounce to be a good catcher. Like even with runners on. So dudes are just running the bases, even with 2 strikes. So that was kind of like old timey catching there. And then the other thing I was going to talk about, so this is like Ted Williams stuff and how legendary he was. I did want to talk a little bit about, I had Trevor Hoffman pulled up because he's the legendary. I got some San Diego stuff. Go ahead.
He has the record for the most saves, right?
I think so.
Or he was when he retired. I think he had the most saves. I'm not sure if it's still up there, but
So forever, Trevor Hoffman, this is the other down the rabbit hole in San Diego because the people are like, well, you're gonna like give a comprehensive thing of about San Diego baseball. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna talk about random San Diego shit. That's how we do it at 3BGB. But Trevor Hoffman would totally major part of his career was San Diego as a closer, and you can see his save numbers. They're insane. He's like throwing up 40 saves every year. But Hoffman, I did not know this, wasn't drafted as a pitcher. It's a shortstop. Drafted as a shortstop out of the University of Arizona, awesome campus, by the Reds.
Oh.
And after 2 years in the minors, they're like, dude, you're not that good at hitting, but you want to try pitching because you kind of have a cannon. Gets up there, and it's just like 95. So I need to do some more reading on Hoffman because, like, that's all well and good if you're, like, an amazing athlete that gets, like, transitioned from position player to pitcher and you just have an awesome fastball. But Hoffman was known for just his sick changeup, like taking – a good 10 to 12 miles an hour off with just no change in motion. Unhittable. The Trevor Hoffman changeup was unhittable. So I think that's interesting that you were this position player transition to a pitcher, but you developed this insanely deadly off-speed pitch.
I will say shout out to the coaches and managers that were like, hey, let's not give up on you. Let's try this because, who knows what would have happened if they wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of closers, I know that, like, this guy was known to – as far as like his greatest moments with the A's, but Raleigh Fingers, he was for the Padres.
Yeah, Raleigh was he's a Cali guy because
he got some pretty good amount of saves there too. So,
yeah,
I mean,
and I don't know where I saw this is not necessarily for the show, but I'm nothing's going to stop me from. And for people who are like, "What's up with the red lines?" That's our awesome filter. I just realized we didn't announce that we're using our focus filter, but we like that. We could go to the other wacky filter. I don't know how you feel about it. I like this filter right now.
To me, it doesn't matter. It's our voices and the content
it's
that matters.
The content that we're putting out there. Raleigh Fingers, I heard this. I don't know if this is right. That crazy mustache he had, I think started as a joke,
the
he
little
said.
twist thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that, like, that's crazy that you would start it as a joke and just F it, I'm going to do it for another 20 years? I don't know if I do that. I don't know if I do that.
Padres, like, once you start looking up players, you're like, oh, shit, I didn't realize they had so many great players. Like, what's his name? Santiago, the catcher? He was badass.
Yeah.
He was Padre. It's a damn
Benito
shame.
Santiago was fucking awesome.
It's a damn shame they didn't win more World Series, especially if you think about the players they had.
They had some good ones. That can transition to me talking about an interesting trade.
The thing about baseball, it's not just a one-man sport. So you can be great but still have a shitty team. That's another thing I like about baseball. It's a team sport. Literally is a team sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With basketball, you have one great guy, your team could be good. Like LeBron James, for example. But anyway.
So I looked up, and look at this guy that runs this blog. This guy reminds me of, where's this picture? This guy, Nick Lee. He's kind of got a Dutch Chattahoochee vibe. He's just a baseball fan in San Diego. If you can see the website. But anyway, I was looking for bad San Diego trades because I was mainly looking for
his name's Dan Lee.
What is this guy that does this blog? This is cool. It's called like the East Village Times. And this is Mr. Nick Lee. Nick Lee does the East Village Times. I'm stealing this article. Shout out to Nick Lee. But I was looking for the Ozzie Smith trade because I was like, how do you let that go? And I started going through like horrible San Diego trades. So like at one point they had like Rizzo, and then they traded Adrian Gonzalez to the Red Sox.
Oh, yeah, first baseman.
Yeah,
right?
it was like players to be named later. So that's fine. I'm not really going to get into that. So then Rizzo, they traded later to the Cubs, of course, and he went off there. And then Corey Kluber, they traded away, and then he went off with the Indians and was like Cy Young or something. But then you get to the Gary Templeton, Ozzie Smith trade. Not that Gary Templeton was bad by any means, but December 10th, my birthday, by the way.
Okay.
Not the same year, but this is when they shot themselves in the foot. Ozzie Smith traded with a player to be named later and Steve Mura to the St. Louis Cardinals. And who they got. Here's who they got. They got Sixto.
That's my favorite.
Lescano.
Dude, I love that name.
It's a cool name. Sixto Lescano and Gary Templeton. And Lescano was not bad, but I mean, you're like the greatest shortstop of all time.
There's a pitcher for the Marlins right now, I believe, called Sixto Hernandez. Or
I've seen that
something.
name
Yeah, I love that
a
name.
number of times. It's an awesome name. So that was how the Cardinals got Ozzie Smith. And I don't know what.
One of the greatest shortstops
I
of
mean,
all time.
at the time, the management was we need Gary Templeton's bat, but you look bad on that one forever, San Diego. And see, you can see, look at Templeton's hat. That's the hat I'm talking about. Those
yeah, the one that's
Pods
like brown and
uniforms.
yellow.
But it has like the pie slice instead of
Yeah.
like the entire panel being yellow. I don't know. It's cool. And then here's the other one that I forgot about. This is a really cool trade. They're saying, Nick Lee's saying this is the worst trade of all time. This all happens like right around the winter meetings in December. Roberto, Alomar, and Joe Carter were, and I forgot Carter was on the Pods, traded to the Blue Jays for Tony Fernandez and Fred McGriff. That's a really interesting trade. And I don't know if it's your worst trade because Tony Fernandez was fucking awesome.
Fred McGriff wasn't bad
and
either.
Fred McGriff was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And Roberto Alomar was fucking awesome. And Joe Carter was fucking awesome. But
I don't think that's a bad trade.
yeah, so it was I don't know. It's interesting to read about, but I forgot that those guys were transacted. And of course, Joe Carter went on and won the World Series. And I think in like maybe that year, 91 or whatever, and like the Blue Jays started going off. But Tony Fernandez and Joe Carter, man, for Roberto Alomar, Tony Fernandez, Fred McGriff for Alomar and Joe Carter. People forget how like Roberto Alomar was so good to have that kind of offensive production for a middle infielder, second baseman.
Yeah.
I honestly, looking at that trade now, I wonder why you do it. Maybe because the only different, because like Joe Carter for Fred, because you're getting a middle infielder for a middle infielder and a power hitter for a power hitter. Difference being Fernandez is a shortstop, Alomar was second baseman, and then Joe Carter batted righty and Fred McGriff batted lefty. So that's probably how they talked themselves, and they just wanted something slightly different. And I don't know who was coming up in the shortstop farm system for why you're trading away Tony Fernandez. But anyway, there's some interesting San Diego stuff there. Hope you enjoyed that. Where's my San Diego State dudes in the pros? Because that was kind of interesting. Craig Nettles, I didn't know.
I also didn't know this. Speaking of San Diego Padre trades, I didn't realize that Trevor Hoffman was traded for Gary Sheffield. I didn't know Sheffield played for the Padres.
Was he?
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
So it says on this article, it says on Bleacher Report, so you can believe what you want on that, I guess. But it says that during the 93 season, the Padres sent a batting champion, future All-Star Gary Sheffield, to the Florida Marlins for an inexperienced closer named Trevor Hoffman. So
okay. Well, here's another random. This is how we tie it all together here at 3BGB. This is going to blow your mind how this all gets tied together. All right, so Justin Halpern, San Diego.
Yes.
San Diego State ball player. Most hilarious dude ever as far as fucking writing books, in my opinion.
I gotta get those books.
Oh, my God.
They sound great.
Dude, you will cry laughing. It's so hard.
And there's also multiple books of the same, like shit my dad says, right? I think there's like 2 or 3 more.
It's so good. But he did, so he got back to us. He goes, I'm going to tie this all together. This is insane.
Okay. Shout out to this guy.
And I feel like I was about to, I am going to tie in Raleigh fingers. So he replied, most famous persons to reply to us ever. He goes, I mostly want to talk about San Diego high school baseball legend Len Bothard. And Len Bothard, so I was, of course, I'm going to follow Len Bothard. So I click over to Len Bothard, and it says he's in Helena, I can never say it. I never say it right. Helena, Montana, which is the capital of Montana. Fine state, very fucking cold.
That's where he lives?
That's where the San Diego high school legend that Justin Halpern wants to talk about, it lives in Helena, Montana. And you know who played for the Helena, Montana Brewers A-ball short season rookie league was Gary Sheffield.
That's probably where that came in, the trade I was talking about.
But the other connection to Helena, Montana is Gulch Distillers is located in Helena, Montana. A friend of mine, Terrell Hibbard. And Terrell Hibbard has the stash.
Oh, shit.
He keeps the Raleigh fingers stash. I don't know if he knows if Terrell's he's like a rancher, but he has like the Raleigh Fingers stash. So like that came full circle. We got Raleigh Fingers stash, Helena, Montana, all the way back to San Diego. Gary Sheffield getting traded for Trevor Hoffman, and Gary Sheffield, also Pedro, but played for the Helena Brewers.
So whenever Sheffield was traded, he was
Pioneer League.
he was a minor league player at the time, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, because I was
Well,
gonna
I
say,
don't know what stage career he
but
was when
yeah,
he got traded.
Sheffield, beast.
But I think Hoffman got traded before. I think he came up to the show with with Florida. So he was in the National League. So then he got traded. No, because Sheffield must have been, they got played with their pros, right? Because Sheffield was with the Marlins. That's what happened. He went to the Marlins and went off.
I have his Marlins rookie card or first year player card from Sheffield.
Sheffield swing still
I love it.
racks my brain.
The swinging of the bat.
Because you remember seeing it, but go back and watch the highlights on how he gets around so quick.
What's cool is he's flipping the bat and then
it's nothing like that.
But
I was going to show, so you can see all Hoffman's pitching stats, but then if you go somewhere, you can look up partial batting or something. I can't do it, but it's anyway. So those are other ones. Let me run through what other little tabs I got up here. There's Halpern, Legend, Len, both are. I'll give an entire fucking segment if we get Halpern on here. And Jose Gutierrez is in class right now. Mike G. What else we got? Ted Williams stuff. There it is. There's Terrell. You can kind of see he's doing a beard there. Oh, no. He's doing the beard right there. But there's some Gulch Distillery let me see if I can find the Raleigh Fingers on Terrell. I keep minimizing. I got to use this thing because I don't know if this thing is on. Let's get this thing on. There we go. This is much better than my other mouse system. Let's go up here to Gulch Distillers, and I will find, go home, Gulch Distillers about there. Well, Daryl's got a beard going there, but point being is he will sport an epic Raleigh Fingers. He will sport an epic Raleigh Fingers stash if he has to. I've seen it. But if you like whiskey, that's a good place to get it right there.
Okay.
But I think I've covered it all, Dutch. I don't know. I don't really want to go too much in the history. I could talk Ted Williams all the time because
he's a legend.
Oh, we still haven't gone through all these guys, though. Tony Gwynn, Bud Black. This is San Diego State. There's more dudes that were out of high school, but Strasburg, Ty France, I think, is maybe still on the show. I'm not sure. There's Jimmy Campbell. Mark Grace. I didn't realize Mark Grace went to San Diego State. Is he a surfer? He had the long blonde hair,
He could do both.
I bet Mark Grace was a surfer. I feel like I know that as a fact. I'm not sure.
In the off season, that's what he was doing.
Yeah, I forgot. Travis Lee. I think I kind of knew that. Where's this Eric Plantenberg? I saw Eric Plantenberg. Eric Plantenberg is like a dude from Washington, I think. Yeah, Eric Plantenberg. Newport. Yeah, he went to my high school. That's how I knew Plantenberg. Look at that. There you go. What's up, Plantenberg? When did he graduate? Renton, Washington. Him and Lindsay come from Renton. So there you go, Eric, Northwest guy, Eric Plantenberg. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. It all comes back to San Diego, and San Diego's the other, huge Marine Corps town. Military town. Military city. Just like San Antonio.
See, I didn't realize that it was a military town when I first moved here. I was like, why is there so many veterans and stuff? And I was like, oh, that's why.
There's so many Air Force bases, but the bases when
I was working at Big Red, I had to go to one of the Air Force bases. I forgot which one it was.
Yeah.
And I had to go work in their little store, the commissary.
Yeah.
They're pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I want you here this time, and I want you out of here no later than this time. If you miss this time period, you're not allowed in here. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand it's a military base. You got to be,
They got some hardcore. That's because I was in 29 Palms. We go down to. We went Oceanside was where Camp Pendleton, the front entrances or main entrance. entrance is, but all my buddies try to like live out in town. They like live in these little surfing communities like Encinitas and stuff like that. Also, oh my gosh, have you ever seen the movie? Have you ever seen the movie Men at Work?
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna just bring that up and give that some props. That's a Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez film, and I think it's filmed in like a fake um, uh, Men at Work film. It's I forget the name of the town, but it's like Encinitas, but it's not. It was directed by Emilio Estevez, and they're garbage men who dream of owning a surf shop. And I forget the name of the town. It's so funny. But it's got the plot. Redondo Beach and Hermosa Beach. I feel like that's it's in L.A. I always thought it was like kind of set in San Diego. It always made me think of Encinitas. It's a really funny ass movie about garbage men who like get involved in like this murder.
You know what?
Yeah.
My tie to I wouldn't say my tie to San Diego. I'm not from San Diego, or whatever. But like Blink-182 is from San Diego. So
Are they?
Yeah.
I thought they were LA guys, but I guess not.
No, well, yeah. Here's the thing. Like, I guess they started in some town called Poway or something, which is like next door to San Diego. So like San Diego, Poway, whatever. But then I guess now Mark claims to be from LA. I could think because he lives in LA now. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, from LA, but they're originally not. So it kind of irks me a little bit that they like, hey, we're Blink-182 from Los Angeles. Like, no, you're not. You're from San Diego, whatever.
This guy was in it. He was a great actor. He's like this pissed off Vietnam vet.
Oh, that guy. I've seen that guy in a lot of different
Dude,
movies.
he's hilarious. He was in Nope. If you haven't seen that one yet, that was a good movie by Jordan Peele. But anyway, Men at Work. I always think of San Diego. Those little beach communities down there, Ocean Beach.
Isn't there a band from Australia called Men at Work or some?
Oh yeah, that's from the Land Down Under.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't there a band?
That was you were talking about walk-up songs.
Yeah.
And I always tell you about Japanese baseball and Mike Nakamura and that crazy story on how there's this tiny Japanese dude with an Australian accent that I played with. Australian Olympic team, but he talked like Crocodile Dundee. And every time because he was the closer for South Alabama, he would come in, they would play, I come from a land down under.
Oh, that's sweet. You know what I feel like your walk-up song could be?
What's that?
Who Can It Be Now by Men at Work? Because like, your phone's always going off. You're like, who's this?
Who can it be now? They were great. They're huge,
I watched
huge in the 80s.
I watched the other day on YouTube. I watched like a live clip of Land Down Under. And it was like recent. It was like within the last couple of years. I'm like, damn, they still sound pretty good for them.
Do they good? And like I think the Down Under song is basically the unofficial national anthem.
It has to be at this
for
point.
Australia.
It has to be.
So anyway,
I'm not gonna attempt to try to do an Australian accent because it'll sound like shit.
I don't know what else. What else we got? Seguin River Monsters, Old Catchers, Spike Lee's on Twitter. I think I've covered all of my jazz. I don't know how long we go. Vitalik Buterin, the guy who runs ETH, has apparently a huge schlong. And
well, I mean, if you want to close out the show, we can close out the show and just kind of recapping everything we've learned in the summer. And
we can, we can do.
So
we
far
can pick some music and just slide it up and talk over that as we roll out. What do you think of this one?
Oh, wasn't we going to close out with 5? Wasn't it 5?
We're going to close out with 5. Let's do this. Let's do 5 minutes with this one, and then we'll close it out. I feel like we have missed segments. Saber, Ted Williams. I was going to talk a little bit about the science of hitting in Ted Williams' upswing,
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to talk about, everybody's like, oh, man, you get the new sabermetrics, that's why it's better to hit homers, and you get the dudes just uppercutting. Williams' theory on the upswing was, he's like, well, the ball is coming at a down angle, right?
Yeah.
Right, so you want to be swinging an up angle because, like, if you're swinging level, the ball's coming. They're only gonna meet, but you have a better chance of meeting the ball if you're swinging at the same angle that the ball is coming in at. That was his theory. Wasn't for power. Like, he hit for power, but the reason he had a slight upswing was he's like, I have a better chance of making contact. So perfect reasoning, which has been abused. And then like Tony Gwynn, who sadly passed. That's another thing. I don't really I forget what happened to Tony Gwynn and why he passed away. What his health condition was, if you can Google that, as he has some really interesting. When you listen to dudes like Gwynn, who was friends with Ted Williams, they met and talked about baseball a whole bunch.
So they said that I looked it up and it said he died of, I'm not gonna say this word, but like thyroid cancer.
Oh, it's cancer.
Yeah, it was like something in this salivary gland. I suck at words, but
Oh, so it was like from dipping, maybe.
possibly, yeah.
Possibly, because his family sued a tobacco company. I'll be darned, that's sad.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people used to like totally.
He did dip. I do remember Gwynn dipping. But yeah, Gwynn would talk kind of the same thing. And Gwynn wasn't a real big power guy, but he was about keeping the bat in the zone. In Carew, people talk about all these exit velocities and bat speed and all that. That's all well and good. But for the singles dudes, there's something to be said for the time your bat is in the zone, the time your bat's on the same plane as the baseball. That's why it would be fun to talk to Jose Gutierrez, because he had all these thoughts on hitting that were pretty interesting.
I was going to say Tony Gwynn Jr.'s son had a pretty good career.
Yeah, dude, he got drafted too. So, yeah, let's see here. Get some TCL alumni. Mike G's giving content before we get to the real outro. Oh, here we go. TCL 2000 TCL alumni to keep an eye on. Michael Hellman. He played for the Brazos Valley Bombers, and he's a AA for the Twins right now.
There we go.
This is right straight from the tap of the Seguin River Monster's head.
So we've just turned the well tap on, and it's already.
This
dripping.
is it. He gave us this. This is good content. Chase Calabug, also Brazos Valley Bombers. He is AA with Oakland. AA with Oakland.
Okay.
And I think, let's see what position these guys are playing. I can see what games ABs. He's a hitter, looks like to me. Trying to see this position. I'm not sure on Hellman what position he's playing. Whoa. Pull that up. Left, bats, throws. So we got those guys. Let's go back here. And then Mike Mockma. He's with the Mariners. Aqua Sox. Oh.
Doesn't it seem like the summer league is like right around the corner? But
Segura,
it's
Victoria Generals. He's with the Tigers. And then you got Trey Jeans.
Trey Jeans.
Trey Jeans. He was with the White Sox organization. Zach Lee. Interesting. I'm going to look. The 2017 boasts a handful of players still grinding. So I think this is Mike just updated this on the website, on the Seguin River Monsters website.
Okay.
So these dudes, 17 is pretty far ago. That's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But if you're a 20-year-old, 5 years, you're 25 now. You're AA. You're right there.
Yeah. And there's a lot of players who just stay in the minors forever.
That's good baseball out there. I'm excited. Track old Mike G down. All right, let's get to the outro music, and we'll just fill air with whatever. You had awesome research today, Dutch. You're killing it.
I try.
I think we used the Seguin River Monster logo the entire time.
I also realized it's a lot easier just to like put it on a Google document than trying to like print out actual paper.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I never thought that before. Like, there's technology, but I'm still
well, I have it handwritten sometimes. Sometimes
I'm
I
still
type it
like
out.
at times stuck in the olden days, like when I was in high school and stuff. Like, we'll just write it down or print it out, But I'm like, well, there's resources now where I can just keep it on a computer.
Yeah.
Anyway,
great show. We filled an hour and a half of BS on. There's so much San Diego baseball. Ted Williams being the most famous.
You know what's funny? We forgot to record an audition.
Ah, shit.
Well, it's kind of new to like do video and record at the same time.
Well, have you seen our anchor numbers? Nobody's listening. There was like 0,
You know what?
and then there was 1 and that was me.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna sound like an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say anyway.
But Jimmy would listen to Spotify. Our own correspondent. He's like, dude, I would listen to the Spotify. I can't remember. Jimmy needs to call.
Well, it's on me too because I reminded you last time, but I forgot this time. But
can you pull the audio off of YouTube somehow?
You can, yeah.
Oh no, you can upload video.
Yeah.
Oh, you can download the whole episode and then do that.
Yeah, there's apps you can do that. What I was gonna say was, when we start balling and people's like, oh my god, I love you guys. I'm like, well, you weren't there at the beginning, so don't act like you care now.
They can care now, but we'll in the back of our mind, I'll remember.
Like, oh man.
But yeah, I'm
like when we do a live event and you gotta buy
millions
tickets.
and millions of fans. I'll still be signing autographs.
So whenever we do like a live event, and there's
like
tickets.
Jamie. Yeah. Jamie was there at the beginning. He's here this show. I don't know if he's still watching, but thank you.
But so what I was trying to say was,
sorry,
when there's like a live show and we have tickets to come see us live.
Yeah.
And there's people like, can we get a ticket? Oh, remember that one time we told you about our podcast we kept doing and you didn't really care? Well, sorry, but we're full.
We're about to blow up because we're figuring out titles. That's a YouTube clicker. And then if we get better thumbnails, people are going to be like, I must watch this show.
I got to get in Photoshop and I got to mess around with thumbnails. But, you know, that's a learning process. Because every night I get my computer and I sit down at Photoshop to try to design a logo.
Yeah.
And I get stuck. Like, fuck, what'd I do?
Wow, you know? Man.
But.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah, we got to figure out. We can probably pull it down and get it up on Spotify, though.
Yeah, there's apps.
A little bit of extra elbow grease.
There's apps that allow you to download YouTube videos, so you can do that.
What else? My baseball books for today are J.R. Richard Throwing Heat and the Physics of Baseball.
What else? This Peach Monster was tasty.
Peach Monster. I threw on the suit today. I've been hoodieing it up. It's so fucking cold in here. Are you freezing yet, buddy?
No, I'm not cold at all.
Are you ready for barbecue station?
Sure.
Are you ready for D-Bat?
Sure.
Okay.
When I say sure,
half as many rounds.
When I say sure, I mean that's for me. Like yes, I don't want to sound like whatever. When I say sure, I'm like, let's do it to it. You know?
All right. Well, let's fill our bellies and then go take some hacks and see.
And what's funny is I've had barbecue station like 2 times last week.
Dude, it's a tradition. If we cut a show, we get barbecue.
And I'm probably
make them the unofficial sponsor.
Can I just get like, when I go there, can I just get like, do I have to get a plate? Can I just get like, oh, can I just get a slice of sausage?
Yeah, I like the fatty brisket is so good.
I do too, yeah. Especially when they, like the marble style, like when you get the ends and a burnt. Oh, it's okay, Rico. Very good.
That's so good.
My favorite.
Awesome show, buddy. We nailed it. 2022 NPB Tops is out. NPB card guy tweeted that out the other day.
So
I can get on eBay and start getting some more cards. But I got a Roki Sasaki flipping rookie, so I'm good. I think we covered it, man. We covered the world of baseball. It's a beautiful sport, and you had a lot of excellent points on why it's still relevant. You also had some really good dietary information.
Our tradition that we're building is barbecue and the D-bat.
Yep.
So a nice plate of barbecue.
That's a good day. I look forward to it. Every time I know Dutch is coming in, I get pumped.
You know my favorite part about the barbecue station?
What's that, bud?
Quick.
Oh, yeah.
We walk in, we order, bam.
You're grubbing. I'm so hungry, I'm going to get more barbecue than I normally do get today.
I'm not starving. Because I had some breakfast stuff, so like I might eat a little something. I'm not going to say no to barbecue, but
it's all good, bud. All right, folks. Thanks, man. You got anything for the fans, the millions that'll eventually tune in with our new titling and thumbnails?
For the people that have been listening, I want to say thank you. Appreciate it.
Filter's not an accident.
No. And when we do make it big, you are welcome to the 3BGB Clubhouse.
Yep. Oh, you had some good ideas on swag, too. We should get hoodies we can sell, maybe.
There are some.
I don't think you really make any money on that. I think the swag company makes most of the money, but it is kind of cool to have your logo on stuff.
Yeah. There's like, I've been looking at fitted, like snapback hats and like shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to order a bulk amount, but merchandise is a big thing. Yeah. So we'll get some stuff.
Naked Bat Co. You have a world record setting bat just behind you in the frame. It's amazing. 34. I think it's maple. Naked Bat Co. All right, I'm done. I got to shut the fuck up. And thanks for tuning in, folks. Till next time. Next week, some point, right? Your schedule's open?
Yeah, except like I said, Tuesday, Thursday, my school days. But
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll cut something again. If we can't get Jose Gutierrez, which looks like we didn't make it happen today, we'll try to get him next week. Figure out what his class and training schedule is.
I've been trying to get Ricky Craig on
Ricky Craig.
because he's like I think he likes the Dodgers.
Okay.
He's a casual baseball guy, so
We take all baseball fans of any form or
he's
fashion.
also a film student like we were.
There you go.
He graduated already, so he's
Just making features.
I told him he should come with
Danny
us and do
Okay.
something.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to shoot a short film with some dudes from class on Friday.
Oh, shit, what's it about?
It's way out in Poteet, though.
Shit.
I
Strawberry
don't know. It's
Festival.
just kind of like a random love story, alcoholic love story, maybe. It's cool.
My screenwriting
I appreciate
class.
the opportunity. Yep,
I got to come up with a screenplay, and I've already thought about what I want to do. Kind of,
I like it.
basically, it's Trailer Park Boys, Sunny Philadelphia kind of shit,
All right.
but it's with a bunch of punks. So
I just can't stop talking. All right, both folks, I'm really fucking stopping the stream now. All right,
shout out to the barbecue station.
we out.
I'll turn down that thing. Dude. Go ahead and log off.
Oh, all right. Oh, end